Hey crafters, it's Judy Klock here coming to you from Stampin with Crafty Klock. And today we're going to share with you how to do a quick little sweet treat box. I just like playing with boxes. I like to come up with different ways to just put, little sweet surprises in there for friends. And, if you're doing like a kid's birthday party, this would be great. How great would this be to sit on each place setting for the kids or little party favors as people are leaving? Filled with, maybe some hard candies, some lifesavers, something along those lines. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to go together so quickly. So the first thing you'll need is a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 by 3 3/4. Now I'm using Berry Burst because I'm using the beautiful, Bright and Beautiful Designer Series paper from the Beautiful Balloons, the Bright and Beautiful product suite with the beautiful balloons. Now we're going to use some of the dies, some of the balloon dies from that set, and we're just going to use a Yay You stamp because this is going to be a really simple project. So what we want to do is we want to bring in our scoring table, and my allergies have been killing me this weekend. All right, so we want to score it at 1/2 inch, okay? Then we're going to score it at 1 3/4, 3 inches, and 4 1/4. And that's across the 5.5 inch side. So we should end up with a little 1/2 inch section and then 4 1 1/4 inch sections. Then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Again, I apologize. It's killing me. We're going to score it at 1 1/4 and at 2 1/2. And then we're going to score it again at 3 1/4. Is that right? Yes, I believe we're going to score it at 3 1/4. Okay. All right. So now that's all we've got for our scoring. Let's move our Simply Scored back out of the way. Now, next, I'm going to burnish all of my score lines. Just makes it easier to do it now before we do some cutting. Okay, and I will have all of these measurements on my corresponding blog post, which I'll put the link in the description. So you don't have to worry about writing it all down now. But it's pretty easy. And obviously, you wanted to make this bigger. You could just keep increasing it by 1/4 inch all the way around. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut some pieces away. So on where we have that 1/2 inch score line, we're going to cut on the 1/2 inch score line up to that first horizontal score line. We're going to cut that away. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing on the top. We're going to cut the 1/2 inch score line down to the second horizontal score line, and we're going to cut that away. So you should just have this little tab here that we'll use to secure our box sides together. Okay, and I'm just going to miter those corners. Now, I want to go ahead and I want to trim all of these 1/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch score lines up to that first horizontal score line. And this will become the bottom of our box. Now, going to leave this one as is. On these, I'm going to miter the corners on these other 3 tabs. It'll just make the box lay a little bit nicer to not have all that extra cardstock coming out the edges. Okay. Now, I'm going to cut from the edge down to that second horizontal score line along all of these score lines. So do that. Now, we have this little 1/2 inch score line on. We're going to cut away every other one. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to cut that away. Okay, cut that away. I'm going to fold these 2 back. And I'm going to cut this one away. The allergy meds are supposed to be 24 hours, but it seems like they're given out early. Okay, so now We're going to add a little bit of liquid glue here on that little tab. Okay, and we're going to fold over our box. Okay, and we're going to have that left edge, that outer edge even with our cardstock. Okay, so there we go. Now, before we do anything else, while it's still relatively flat, let's go ahead and add some designer series paper. I've got a couple of pieces here. They're 1 inch by 1 inch. I'm just going to add some Stampin' Seal. You're just going to go ahead and add those. Okay. Again, however you want, doesn't really matter. Just going to make it look a little pretty. Okay. Flip it over and we'll add 2 more here. You know you've got it bad when you've got a sinus headache that just won't go away. It has been with me all day. Okay. There we go. All right. I think we're almost ready to move on. All right, so now we've got our little 4 pieces of cardstock. Now, remember, one of these we didn't trim. That's going to be our outside flap. So I'm going to take these other flaps and I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue to them. Okay, fold it over. Okay, hold that in place. I'm going to take this one and fold it over. Okay, so now we've got that. Now I'm going to take this last one that's not got the mitered corners, and that's going to be like on the outside. So you're not going to see those pieces that were mitered. Okay, so now we've got that. Let's push that over. Okay, I'm just going to kind of use my bone folder to kind of tap that down. Make sure it all is stuck well together. Now we've got these other 2 little flaps. So right now, here's where we'd stick in our candy. Whatever candy we wanted to put in, whatever little trinkets we wanted to put in, now is when we would put it in. Then we're going to fold those 2 flaps over. So they're just going to slightly overlap in the center. Then these 2 flaps are going to meet in the middle. And we are going to add some liquid glue here. If you don't want to add liquid glue, you can use a stapler, like a mini stapler. I just liked the way the liquid glue worked better, or you can use tear and tape or maybe Stampin' Seal Plus. Or if you wanted to secure it with the ribbon, you know, however you wanted to do it. I just did the liquid glue, but obviously I would do this after I had added my inside treats. Right now I've got some balloons here, and I realized when I did this, so that looks kind of like a Mickey Mouse ears. So I'm going to try to do it a little bit different. I'm just going to add some glue here. Right, we're going to put kind of one there. Kind of tilt it. Maybe add another one. Another one maybe a little bit further down here. Okay. And then maybe add one. Put a little bit of glue on here. Add one right here. Okay, so now we've kind of got like a little balloon bouquet going, right? That one looks better, doesn't look like Mickey Mouse ears. Right, now we're going to add a piece of linen thread. If you don't have, I was actually looking for my white baker's twine, which I don't know where I put it. It's down here in this mess somewhere. I just haven't found it yet. So I am just going to tie a ribbon with some some linen thread rather. We're going to add that to our balloons with a glue dot. Glue dots work really well holding on some of our embellishments like our ribbons and such. Again, I'm just going to kind of I don't want it to be the loops to be too big because my box isn't that big. It's only like 1/4 of an inch square. So again, and I didn't want a really big one for this particular event. I wanted something a little bit smaller. But I can make it depending upon what item I'm using to put in there, I can make it as big as I want. This is probably the smallest I would go. I think anything smaller than this would just be a little bit hard to work with. But this 1 1/4 inch seems to be a good size. Okay, so I'm going to kind of roll that up a little bit. We're going to add that to the back of our twine, or linen thread rather. I'm going to just put that on the bottom of our balloon. Right now I've got, again, a really small 1/3 of an inch square piece of basic white. And we're going to stamp Yay You in our blueberry bushel. All right, so we're just going to stamp that. I just love doing these little boxes. I think they're fun. I think it's always nice to have like a little surprise on your table, even if it's just, family coming over. It's just a nice little surprise to say, you know what, I wanted to make it special for you. I'm going to add a dimensional, and we are going to pop that right on the front of our little box. And there you have your little boxes that you can use, again, as place settings, as party favors, really for whatever you want. Just a piece of cardstock, some designer series paper, and your imagination, and you can make it be whatever you want. Don't want flowers? Do balloons. Don't want balloons or flowers? Maybe do the new fishing set that's out. The possibilities are endless. If you like this and you want more inspiration, make sure to sign up for my email list. I send out a weekly tip and a weekly tutorial. It's always something fun. But I'd love to have you come and see what we do at Stampin' with Crafty Klock on a weekly basis. That's it. Have a great week, everybody. See you Thursday here at 7:30 for my live demo. Bye.